Before we go into the application, just going to run through some of the key capabilities and features that you might look at when choosing a workforce planning solution. So going from the top, secure and sensitive data, you want to ensure that the system you choose has got the right relevant user rights, the security element of it, because the information in a system which is handling HR data, salaries and things like that is very sensitive, and therefore the security of that is vital. Flexible workflows, you want to be able to give the user a defined process in order to have that process defined and users can go through in a logical way, and not have to kind of go into numerous different windows to follow a process, and also the ability to be able to quickly change those workflows from an admin perspective and have different workflows for different parts of the business. That's one of Tagetik's key selling points on the workflows. Direct integration with HR systems, you want your data to flow nicely into your planning system, and Tagetik again with powerful ETL and various other data integration tools can connect and take data from your source systems. The ability to scenario model, what if scenarios, plan out things like transfers, promotions, terminations. Being able to do that in a system is ideal because it's all saved. You can do versions, compare and contrast, and maybe even do long-term planning in regards to some of these particular aspects of workforce planning. With CCH Tagetik, you get an integrated solution, and so if you're doing workforce planning or any other types of planning, you can integrate that into one FP&A solution. So not just FP&A, there's other parts of Tagetik, but essentially the workforce planning is integrated directly into your plan, overall plan essentially. The reporting within Tagetik is substantial, so you've got the ability to do enhanced reporting, things like dashboards, and also standard reports which you would expect out of a solution. You're able to drill down into lower level details. And finally, it's a scalable solution, so you're able to, if you're a growing company, Tagetik can be the tool which helps you grow, and as you grow, Tagetik can grow with you. So you're able to create easily new companies and maybe even add on other tools which Tagetik offer. So it's a scalable solution as well. The next thing we're going to do is go into the application, and I'll just show you a few things in regards to workforce planning and how Tagetik can handle some of the complexities. So what we have here is a landing page. As soon as you enter Tagetik, you enter a home page for a user, and you have tiles which allow you to essentially, you're one click away from any report, any part of Tagetik which you need to enter. And that really emphasizes the ease of use within Tagetik. So with a home page which is customizable, you're able to get to wherever you need to within one click. And what we have on the screen here is a HR dashboard. So for example, here we've got employee activity, FTE by gender, some expenses and things like that at the bottom. So you could create dashboards for your users, and they're able to then see a snippet, real nice visual of the current state of play. Another cool feature within Tagetik is that it is compatible with smart devices, and therefore you've got the ability to navigate in an iPad view as well. Moving into what we call the workflow, I'm going to go into the workforce plan, and we have a workflow here which is designed specifically for a workforce plan, and you can see here that it starts with some global assumptions, and then we go into maybe a little bit more detail where we start to assign certain employees to relevant positions or relevant categories, and we can build up the plan in that way. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into the global assumptions just to give you an idea of what sort of things you can have as essentially drivers for your plan. So here we've got some economic assumptions. We've got rates in terms of tax and various other different limits. We've got benefits. So what you can have Tagetik do is help you with potentially calculating bonuses and reward schemes and things like that as well. You've got rate of pay. So by position, you can have the rate of pay. You can do that by individual. And these drivers essentially will help us when we go to our roster plan, and essentially by employee are able to put together the relevant costs which these employees are going to incur for the relevant business we're talking about. So what I've done is I've just gone into what we call the roster plan, and you can see here we've got our employees down the left hand side, and we've got all the information relevant to that employee. So we've got the position, we've got the type of employee, contracted, hourly based, and this data could be coming directly from your source system. So you've got your actual data, but then you've got some things which you might change. So for example, if I'm in the New York entity, potentially I might have someone who's going to be transferred to a different entity. So I can choose the employee and I can say, this employee is going to be transferred across to a different entity, and the system will enable us to manage those transfers, and I'll show you that in the next report essentially. But in addition to that, you've got the drivers coming through to calculate your merit increases and your salaries, and therefore you've got a good breakdown of all the costs associated with the relevant employees. Furthermore, at the bottom here, you've got the ability to plan by position. So for example, if I wanted to add a senior VP, then I can add a position into my plan, and the relevant rates and things like that will come through. So it's quite flexible in that respect. You've got the ability to have lower level planning at the employee level, and if you wanted to plan at slightly higher level, you could potentially just plan at position level, and then you can enter the relevant information. You can see the rate of pays come through via the global assumptions for this particular position. Final thing I want to show you in the application was a quick look at how the transfer management tool works. So we've put a transfer into this particular form, and the next thing I'm going to do is go into the transfer management form. So we'll be able to see how, if a user goes in and transfers an employee to a different entity or a department, whatever it may be, there's a transfer management system which allows people to approve, decline, and things like that. So you can see here we have the ability to approve. You've got pending transfers, and you got the ability to go in and approve or reject. So if you enter a transfer, it doesn't just go over to the next entity. It has to be approved by somebody who's responsible for that. Finally, on the reporting side, you've got the ability to create reports on the back of all the information that's being entered into Tagetik. So you've got things like charts and interactive reports like this, and this is a nice analysis report which gives you a breakdown of all the salaries by position here, gender spread, number of employees. And of course, you can go into more detail and drill into any of this information which is on the screen. But essentially, as a summary, a workforce planning or a HR planning workflow could look something like this. And essentially, you can put your global assumptions. You've got the ability to go down to different levels of granularity if required. Ability to transfer employees within the Tagetik workflow, and then you've got your reporting. So just to summarize, in terms of Tagetik as a platform, it's a finance transformation platform. It's a unified platform, and you've got multiple processes in one application. So the unified platform gives you a single version of the truth. It reduces cycle time and is more agile and able to quickly adapt to changes in the market and economy. It connects finance and operations, aligning people, process, and data for all financial and management activities, which means that all stakeholders can have that confidence in the results and a single version of the truth. So essentially, having all the data in one place is very powerful, and you don't want to have disparate systems and no harmonized layer. Tagetik offers that essential layer of harmonization of the data within the business that's going to be vital for reporting. Tagetik is owned by finance. It's agile to deploy and easy to maintain. Very little need for developers. Small steps and medium-sized steps can be taken by finance and the guys who are administering the system. And then therefore finance become that data steward while retaining the control and data governance which is expected by the CFO. The ability to process high volumes of granular data and built-in financial intelligence ensures you are future-proof and ready for the next big thing. So for example, AI and predictive analysis, that's all part of Tagetik's future and is there when clients require that sort of complexity involved in their planning cycles and processes.